So
I'll just tell you, it was a Sunday morning, the day after my birthday, when we got up and we heard that they had bombed uh, Pearl Harbor, which is where all these American ships, with Navy ships and all were. And then I was living here in Salisbury, and they started what called air raids. And when you had an air raid, everything was to be black. So people had to change. Had roller curtains in their windows to pull down on rollers, and they had to be black or dark green so that no light showed through, because it had to be dark, because then they found out that these planes could fly that distance. They were afraid that, the area would be bombed if there was any light. So the street lights, when the air raid went off, everything went black. The street lights went off. People in cars could not have any lights on. If you had a light on your house, it had to be like a kerosene lamp or a flashlight, and these curtains had to be down. Was absolutely no light anywhere. And but I know we always got up. Daddy always made us get up, and we all sat, in the dark or with a kerosene lamp and these shades down, and whatever they talked about or whatever, I don't know, but you could hear the air raid. I don't know that we ever heard any airplanes, then. I remember when, wanted to get groceries, you could only get a certain amount, and your ration stamps were given out to according to how many was in your family. And you could only get, you had to have one to get a pound of this or a pound of that, of flour, or to get a gallon of kerosene for you, because we had coal oil stoves to cook on. You couldn't have put any kind of a fire that would show up either. So, and shoes. No, he never said anything much. He was on a boat or a ship, and I understood him to say one time that it got struck, and that's how he got that big scar. But he was on a submarine for a while, but I don't know how long or anything, or where. He never said. The only place I ever said, well, I think he was in Italy, but he never talked about any of it. The only thing he ever really mentioned was that Japan, Tokyo. Yeah, my uncle, well, he wasn't, actually two. Johnny Long, my father's cousin, he got killed. And Mom's sister, Aunt Esther, her husband's brother, got killed in World War II. Your great Uncle Bill was in the service, he was in the service before your grandfather was, but he was still in there when your grandfather went in. And so was your great Uncle Sterling. He was in the service, all three of them. She had three boys overseas at the same time. I was friends with a young German girl. They were called DPs. They were displaced people. Big farm across the road, the Demuck farm. They had a house back in the field, a brick house that was old, and they had what they called DPs that came there, displaced people. And they lived there free to work on their farm. And this girl was a German girl around my age, and she started our school, and nobody had anything to do with her. And she couldn't speak English much. And I don't know whatever happened to them. Of course, we left there and moved, and I don't recall her being in school anymore. Whether they upped and went somewhere else or what, I don't know. That's why a lot of people are against Japanese people around here. There's still prejudice against them because of the war. And Germans. People are against them. Just a scary time when you'd hear those sirens go off nights. I don't know where they were set up or how they did it, but and you knew, get to cover, and no light. We'd go to the little store down the street, but you had to have a ration stamp, and you could only get, well, not everything was rationed.
Mhm.
But certain things were, like anything that was leather, shoes, and gas or oil, but sugar, butter,